Welcome to Deep Dive Learning by HaleForm. This is episode 8. Today we're really diving deep into piping and instrumentation diagrams, P&IDs, and specifically how they've shifted towards becoming, well, intelligent P&IDs. I've got some great material to unpack here, including an overview called Beyond Lines and Symbols, the true value of intelligent P&IDs, and also some info about HaleForm Technology Solutions, who are, quite involved in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission today is really to explore what takes a P&ID beyond just lines and symbols on a page or even a basic digital file. We want to understand what makes them truly valuable in modern engineering. We'll look at how they've evolved and why this whole idea of an intelligent P&ID is, well, such a big deal.
Exactly. And we should also touch on how companies like HaleForm Technology Solutions you mentioned are helping make this happen. They actually facilitate converting older static documents, like PDFs, into these more dynamic, intelligent formats.
Right. They've got a strong team, I understand, particularly SPID administrators who are really adept at handling smart P&ID projects for both host and satellite setups.
Okay, so let's start maybe with the history, just briefly. P&IDs weren't always intelligent, were they?
No, not at all. Historically, they were static documents. I mean, fundamentally static. Think paper drawings, or maybe later basic CAD files or PDFs.
Right, just digital versions of the paper, essentially.
Exactly. They use standardized symbols, lines for pipes, symbols for pumps, valves, instruments, control systems, all essential for showing the process flow and how everything was connected.
Vital, yeah. But those traditional P&IDs, as the source material highlights, they had limitations.
They did. While crucial, they often led to disconnected data. Information wasn't linked. You'd have inconsistencies creeping in between the P&ID and, say, a separate instrument list. And updates. That was all manual effort. Extracting information was also, well, manual.
So finding the specs for a specific valve meant hunting through the drawing, finding the tag, then maybe looking it up on a separate spreadsheet or data sheet.
Precisely. The data about the components wasn't really in the P&ID itself. It lived elsewhere, which, as you can imagine, was prone to errors and just took a lot of time.
Okay, so that sets the stage for the rise of intelligent P&IDs. It sounds like a pretty fundamental shift.
It really is. We're moving from static drawings to dynamic, data-rich assets. That's the core difference. It's all about the embedded data and the relationships between the elements.
And this is where companies like HaleForm Technology Solutions come in again, right? Offering services to convert those static P&IDs from PDFs into smart P&ID format.
Yes, using automation, which is key for handling large volumes of legacy documents efficiently. It unlocks the data trapped in those old formats.
So what actually makes a P&ID intelligent? Let's break that down.
Well, first and foremost, the objects, the symbols, the lines, they have data linked to them. They're connected to a database. So a pump symbol isn't just a picture. It's linked to attributes like its tag number, maybe its flow rate, material type, operating pressure.
Okay, so clicking on it actually brings up real information. What else?
Connectivity is explicitly defined. The system knows that this pipe connects, say, pump P101 outlet nozzle to vessel V200 inlet nozzle B. It understands the relationship, including, crucially, what fluid is flowing through that pipe.
That's a big step up from just seeing a line drawn between two shapes.
Definitely. And then you have rules and specifications. Intelligent P&ID software can enforce project standards. For example, you could set a rule that all lines carrying corrosive fluid X must be made of a specific alloy. The software can flag violations.
So it builds in quality control and ensures consistency.
Exactly. And finally, integration is possible. The underlying database can talk to other engineering tools. This allows for data exchange, ensuring consistency across different platforms, like maybe your 3D modeling software or asset management system. HaleForm, for instance, has programmers working on things like the Llama Automation API for SPID to enable this kind of smooth integration.
Right, there's not just a standalone diagram anymore. It becomes part of a larger engineering data ecosystem. Okay, let's talk about the true value then.
Yeah.
Our source material stresses this goes way beyond just having a digital drawing.
Yes. The first major benefit is enhanced data accuracy and consistency. It becomes a single source of truth. Because the data is linked and managed centrally, you minimize errors from manual entry or copying info between documents. Automated checks can catch inconsistencies much earlier in the process.
Which saves time and presumably prevents problems later on. What about efficiency?
Huge improvements in design and review efficiency. Modifying an intelligent P&ID is faster. Change a valve specification, and that change can automatically propagate to related lists or reports. Design reviews are streamlined too because reviewers can access data directly from the diagram, just by clicking on a component.
That sounds much faster than flipping through stacks of paper or multiple electronic files during a review.
Absolutely. And speaking of lists, automated report generation is another key value. Things like line lists, equipment lists, instrument indexes. These can be generated automatically from the P&ID data. It saves enormous amounts of time and, again, reduces errors compared to manual compilation.
I can see how that would free up engineers to focus on, well, actual engineering.
Right. And then there's the connection to the wider project lifecycle. Intelligent P&IDs provide a really solid data foundation for things like 3D modeling. Tools like Smart 3D rely on that data pipe specs, equipment details coming from the P&ID to build an accurate model,
Ensuring the 2D schematic and the 3D model are actually aligned.
which is vital. This alignment is crucial for creating accurate digital twins of the plant. And having teams that understand both is important. HaleForm, for example, has Smart 3D administrators and modelers, but also teams specializing in catalog customization.
Catalog customization, what does that involve?
Well, tailoring the software's components to match specific project requirements or company standards. Things like piping specifications, but also electrical, HVAC, structural components, even complex things like hangers and supports customization, or defining how tags are automatically generated, the name rule customization. They also work on customizing rule checkers and creating 3D symbols. It ensures the tools work precisely the way a project needs them to.
Got it. So the P&ID data feeds into this highly customized 3D environment. What about collaboration and handover?
Much smoother. Sharing validated, data-rich P&IDs makes collaboration between different disciplines easier and more reliable. And the handover to construction and operations is significantly improved. They get a package that truly reflects the design intent with validated data.
So the value extends well beyond the design phase.
Oh, absolutely. It enhances lifecycle asset management. During operations and maintenance, the Intelligent P&ID remains a living document. It provides accurate, easily accessible information for planning work, troubleshooting problems, or managing future modifications. It's not just a snapshot from the design phase.
That seems incredibly valuable for the long-term operation of a plant.
It is. And all of this, the accuracy, the efficiency, the better collaboration, the lifecycle value ultimately leads to reduced rework and lower costs. Catching errors early, avoiding inconsistencies, having reliable data, it prevents costly fixes later in the project or during operation. And again, this is where services like those from HaleForm Technology Solutions are key. Transforming legacy documents into these powerful, intelligent formats unlocks all that potential value. If listeners want more info on that, they can reach out at business.development@haleform.com.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, it's really clear that intelligent P&IDs are much more than just the next version of a drawing. We've moved way beyond simple lines and symbols.
Yeah, we're talking about transforming a fundamental engineering document into a dynamic, data-rich asset. The ability to embed data, define those connections, apply rules, integrate with other systems. It offers really significant advantages.
Accuracy, efficiency, collaboration, lifecycle management.
Yeah.
The benefits seem to touch almost every aspect of a plant project and its operation.
They really do. It changes how information flows and how decisions are made.
So maybe a final thought for you, our listener. Imagine having that kind of living, intelligent diagram underpinning your entire process facility. What new efficiencies, what new insights could become possible when you have that level of integrated, validated information readily available? It truly feels like a smarter way to engineer, doesn't it?